HSTV, inspiring wellness.
News in 30 is brought to you by HSTV and Underglow TV in Ohio.
A very good afternoon to you. It is the 8th of April 2024. Welcome to News in 30 right here at HSTV. My name is Savara Aiden. Now we're streaming live on our YouTube platform at HSTV Live GHUL to like, comment and share. We have more stories for you today, both international and local news. Now moving on to the headlines for this afternoon. The Executive Director for the Institute of Energy Security, Nana Amoisi VII, has cautioned that Ghana could lose the electricity exports market if President Akufo-Addo's directive to curtail power continues. Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey has clarified that government's recent increase in passport fees is not aimed at imposing financial hardships on Ghanaians. And also in the recent statement, Senator Chuck Schumer commended President Joe Biden's proactive approach to preventing escalations in Iran. These and many more we'll be bringing to you in the next 30 minutes. Now the news and details. The leadership of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress in the Upper East region have pledged their commitment to build and promote peace in Boko before, during and after the 2024 general elections.
Security agencies, especially the military, to maintain the peace and security in the area. We are appealing for more security in numbers to improve on visibility. We also suggest the deployment of adequate CCTV cameras and drones to support the security men and women on the ground. We appeal to the Electoral Commission to deploy at least 4 biometric registration kits to these clusters, namely the EC Municipal Office, Kuka, Zabgu, Mognore, Tampizwa, Jantega, Badao, and North Natenga, South Natenga, and West Natenga electoral areas in the Boko Central constituency for the upcoming limited voter registration exercise. We pledge to cooperate with each other before, during, and after the elections, and mutually agree that both NDC and MPP communicators should be granted access to radio stations sympathetic to either party without hindrance and intimidation.
Without their support, this would not have been possible. So we want to appreciate the regional teams led by their chairman and the teams at the constituency level. Now, this is not just for today or yesterday and today. It is a project that should be seen to happen even after here. And we want to see the teams going back to implement some of the activities they have mentioned in the communique. And one of the key things is in the form of the communication, whether on radio, on social media. We want to see them amplifying their voices for peace as far as Boko is concerned. Without that, we would have spent 2 days supported by the excellent facilitation by Dr. Kiwo, and we wouldn't achieve anything. So we want to see things post this activity happening in all the 6 constituencies. If it is possible, whatever happens in Boko during the march, we should find a way of amplifying it in the 5 other constituencies, because that is how far we can reach others who may not be in Boko. Let's pray that this will not just be for the elections, but even after the elections, the parties will continue to play their part in the peace of Boko.
Now, HSTV reporters conducted a survey in Accra to gauge public opinions on potential candidates for the 2024 general elections. Findings highlight diverse views with some citizens expressing support for incumbents while others call for change. Key concerns include leadership qualities, socio-economic development, and the growing influence of younger voters. As the nation prepares for the elections, the survey provides valuable insight into voter sentiment and expectation for the 2024 general elections.
But when you are the manual and one sentinel nipa bebree ehun say oh niema even yan timamu kurampo yan ni kura nanka wedi ni kura ma man no nanka o man anye say nanka be but every top e ko down ni na ni kura na enyo because we are the eduma bi hye wonsa say yeah I was say we no to the sense say a bit me aboa enipa na we adwuma ma omo but anba no sa we be say enipa no wono ne obenye
and there was all the board number no and I'm a boa and the me hu adwen bia wo de bebre me to me mind you na NDC John Mama because that man because papa no wa ye adwuma bebre wo Ghana akufo aduba yen so ne hwe me pamocho nde hwade ekoso nde ukoji loan po ade we interest e wo so kura wo fa na me for me boss here example Mr. Kwame support Westec look at individual man onu ku ahwe adwuma employment our employee man
MPP ni NDC there e betimi asesa kura na de ya so na ahwe no onu ni mu ama wa ya ade na we di o ka kire ye se yeti sika so ekwam de nso onu ba na ekwam de chen first no enti ye se yi MPP ni firi ho ni ye safa mama no ba ne hwe de nyame be ye mama ni de wa ye bia ma ye kasa mama ye bia ni ye boa na de ye hu no hwi ewi asena
teaching de o ye no first no so basic one a good idea because onu wa komuda enti onim ba bia tokrona ase no onim se na obafa so nsisi na ye de omo be won so omo be nyina on be pa bi adi de wa ye bi da no ono na ye hwe na ye ka no ho asem wo se samampa na ye tu ni badin nye se ye sorry and then ya be obia pa de obedi obia pa modi won a o ma be nyina obia ni wa hozo jo mama wa hozo fi ni kodem ai wo nyina ala wo ma disika sa ye hu bibia o ma ye but ye hu mama ye hu de waye intermediate ne kwade wo wa yenka samampa na yetu no bawo nye se obia sorry no abane Ghana ye funti ne ye be dibi akọ wo mu nyina ma bon.
Now let's move on to another story for today. The Executive Director for the Institute of Energy Security, Nana Moeti VII, has cautioned that Ghana could lose the electricity export market if President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo directive to curtail power continues. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in a letter to the Volta River Authority (VRA), ordered the retention of power exports for domestic use in response to the ongoing energy crisis. Samuel Atta Achia, chairman of the Energy Committee of Parliament, made this announcement during an interview. However, energy watchers believe the decision to curtail power will not achieve the desired result if things stay the same.
I think when we sit at the table, many solutions can be preferred, but then we do a risk analysis of all the possible or the potential solutions. If we look at the one the president has presented us with, that is the halting of power sale to our neighbors, I would say it's a knee-jerk approach. It's not sustainable. It has its own implications, both positive and negative. What it does first on the positive side is that it is freeing some 250 megawatts of power from the export segment to the domestic segment of consumption. It's okay, but then where are we directing this power to? We first need to ask, are we directing this savings to the residential? It won't make any meaningful impact because you are choosing to lose revenue from the export market And so you must be deliberate in directing where this power is going to go to. If we go to industries, then it's for productive purposes. You benefit from that because you get productivity going up. You get your taxes and your levies. You also maintain jobs, and also you see value addition in the whole sector, and your GDP will grow. That's a positive. But then if you choose to direct to the domestic source, you or residential, you've lost this. And so this is the positive aspect of it. Meanwhile, we were expecting that if we halt the exports, it will solve the issue. No, we still have a deficit of 400 megawatt thereabouts, so still load shedding will continue. The negative ramification is that if the proposed solution is extended, we may end up losing the export market. We don't foresee the ECG raising that fund adequate enough to address the issue here. Government must resort to another, means of raising fund. ECG's own revenue mobilization drive have been relaxed. It is dealing still having to battle with commercial and technical losses.
That was the Executive Director for the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amoisi VII. Moving on to our very next story, Foreign Affairs Minister Shali Ayokobotri has clarified that government's recent increase in passport fares is not aimed at imposing financial hardships on Guineans. According to her, the government spends 400 Ghana cedis on each passport, with the applicants paying 100 Ghana cedis and the state absorbing 300 Ghana cedis. Emphasizing that the subsidy cannot be the case that it will continue because it is affecting even our operations. Now, HSTV News hits the street of Accra to get the opinions of the citizens on the passport application increment, and these are what some of the citizens had to say about the situation.
Passport nintuma matum no nyasa bia nim sebigafra because krum ayedin na mbrantie pese omutu kwan a sesi a omatum passport na passport nso a omatum nyina wokoyen so a wonya wo passport me a meti ayi ma renew me passport e ko 2 months ni me sanka me passport ye tambia me ko ho a story nkwa na omoma me na aban hwem na one sign fambra back enye sa ending boy
passport bo akoso no de ene okoya nye passport nkwa kwa bibia ne bo akoso de emse enye my especially to say passport akoye high timamufui enka ne kwa nanka eye 100 cedis no nanka ye hia fokwe susenka ne bo no bebo from senenka bia obia benyante ne bo na akoso de in fact emse yeni enye ho
na from aiding. Everybody knows what's the situation and the problems, whatever is going on. It's not easy at all. Look at the way the sun is shining.
I say, Obia, our mind more, was about to be also to me passports. All right, so when your passports, just like ID card, Ghana card. But who increasing na call some amount to know, and no be able to me aiding. And even the passport to cry, and who stress because he said, I know most of them to me. Remember, as I for no crowd also because already like a salmon for German for sick some bayade on my passport. This year I would go 500 already. Or be crab because of me for 300 mra. On you panu musa or because I for the call. Meanwhile, everybody put the crying or a froster. What I say. Remember them last year up to now. I'm on from me. What I say, up to now, last year told me Cape Coast. Up to now, I'm on from me. So they should try and at least see the price.
It's too expensive. 5 million, no, too much. Anka ska mu tusukwa mu ni baby bi kwa anka ye nanso mu to 5 million ska no on be there passport bet me passport. And yes, she is. Can you do do? Wallahi, it does do. And I come in quite the amount to cry. Amount to 1 million kwa nipa bebre. Omunya 1 million kwa. Say 5 million so on. Wow. Anti-media money passports no amount to cry.
Now to some other story, farmers in Dufo Dagadi, nearby a community in the Volta region, are pushing for expanded shortage facilities and processing plant to reduce post-harvest losses, emphasizing the critical need for such infrastructure to improve crop quality and probability. Now, they call attention to the persistent challenge of inadequate shortage facilities and not only affect their livelihoods, but also impact the quality of produce available for consumers in the community.
Problem with the projects in the education sector. You go to many secondary schools, they are half-completed dining halls, half-completed dormitory blocks, half-completed classroom blocks, laboratories and everything. These were projects.
Moving on to the next story, the Attorney General's office recently issued a directive to the Ghana Police Service to refrain from impounding and prohibiting the use of motor vehicles deemed to have violated minor road traffic regulations. In correction to the directive from the Attorney General's office, HSTV News spoke to some drivers on their view on this very issue by the Attorney General's office.
Ajitumpa police for na mo hire do obi wana upon aduma one city kura won fa coffee wana waji 50 100 50 100 ti abakite card sa more than 50 years to 20 years ni sa askar police give kura me bo no ametima anya one plot ana ka bia ato nti say police jana what akasa ne ene jinpa omo yesa na law na embre Ghana na ya won to e ko drive ne ye bredo
mostly omo say ya bro because who watch true ni omo dia bokwa fo ni waju asi yentina ya conform police omo ba ya lolo first omo ba second national theater omo ba ya TUC omo ba ya lolo omo ba petrol shed ya chiwa 50 Ghana so ni bia ya se kobobusia so papa se kwa papa obehwa si obenya fota enya fine so enya fine yenya Ghana for na o so da ya petrol se 62 cities wanga no ya petrol so yesu na ekura no so bia so de ni ato driver ni so enti me media because you don't about police TV several times ya omo kan hwehwehwere because you try am ka boso me
I won jai because yeah so na o ma china ekọ juma
say ajuma no eye no do police for them high pan o me kwa ya ajuma kura ye ho ya won titi pan because o ko jine bia mo say acho say wajibe enye nso be ojo say bia mo say enye mother say oba chi o no wajiska oba chi ko no wa pass no enyi na do ko police station wako so tanu asajiska ndi oba po adon de no onya hwe wow ndi o mu ha pa ndi ezo mo hwe so na mu ye.
Master Ko Tai Chi Health and Defense Aspect has emphasized the importance of proper hydration. He disclosed, according to research, standing while drinking water can stress the kidneys, as he recommends sitting to allow the kidneys to function optimally. Now, he said if you find yourself in a place where you can't sit but stand during drinking water, shake your body right after drinking water. He made this submission on the Healthy Morning Show with myself and Shadrach Abe.
Okay.
By the time they get here, we'll mention the number.
Exactly. So do you know one thing? Do you know that we don't stand and drink water?
Me, I don't only stand, I walk while drinking.
Very good.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of studies on that.
You don't stand?
Yes.
To drink water?
Yes.
What do you do?
You sit.
And why don't you
if
stand
you
to
stand,
drink water?
you are stressing your kidney, and your kidney needs water.
Wow.
So when you sit, your kidney go back to its normal position and get some of the supply of the water you are taking in.
So what if you are in a rush and probably just need water, so you have to probably get to a place, sit before you drink water?
It's a good question. If you don't have any place to sit before you drink water, you can, after drinking the water, you can shake your body.
Okay.
Let the water go around.
A typical example is this morning when I was coming. I always take water before I step out of my house, and so I just picked the bag and I felt like, oh, let me just take water. I stood, I just opened the fridge, took the water because most of the time you go for the water.
Yes.
It's just in the freezer. I picked it up, drank it and moved out.
Yes. When you're done, you just shake.
You know what?
And some of these things, you don't really plan it.
Exactly.
It comes naturally.
Exactly.
Because one thing, you forget about your health.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Your determination, your mind is programmed as, let me go and make money.
Yeah.
So your life is like, pick. What is needed for your work is what your focus and your mind is. What program you are going to structure, but you forget that your health is important.
Or perhaps you don't even know that when it's time
and
to
if you
drink.
wake up in the morning, you want to pee. If you wake up in the morning, don't get up so quick. Sit on the bed for 3 to 5 minutes.
What are you saying?
You see, sometimes you wake up.
Listen, bro, I'm coming on here. 6 a.m.
Now, on that health thing, no, let's go for a very short breather when we come back. Sport updates is right next to us. Don't stay. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Fellow Ghanaians, I am your humble servant, Mr. Mbox. Who is me Adia Efo, Naya Kama, and I'm a count Eddie Emma War, and me count Mbox 100 decoder Eddie amount. Adia Yapa, and this one Kwejuma. Now, favorite movie and as a telenovela, and our sports, Yaya Eddie Jawo. Hey, yo, Papa, with Mbox 100 decoder, who between the pen drive, as your home, now I'm recording your favorite movie and as a telenovela. What means so connect HDMI cable at the man screen buzzing. Our Wi-Fi, Samsung and our LAN, there's the internet need a buzzing. Samsung not to me at the bonum. I'm finally your mo. What to me at the board game? No feel. I wish I'm winning now. Mbox 100 decoder. Emma over 15,000 channels. Ghana, and we are suffering now. You could not a year free. Oh, the answer by subscribing 3 months. Abosumi a year 100 Ghana cedis. Ha! Umperi now open your body. Majimidie. Unsuko Nekwajudie. From 24 matru for iso 0505 776761 0505 776761. Mbox 100 decoder. Make your life colorful. Mr. Mbox, my Jimmy dear, me cool.
Hello there, good afternoon, and it's time for sports news right here on News in 30. I am Precious Azuma. Now let's get into it. And Dreams FC's head coach Abdul Karim Azito has playfully remarked that his team will be thoroughly prepared to face the top contenders in the upcoming semi-finals of the ongoing CAF Confederation Cup. And before I get into that, following the protest over unpaid stipends, the local organizing committee for the African Games has decided to compensate volunteers with an allowance of 1,000 Ghana cedis. Volunteers must also confirm their status later today, and that is the presser on your screen currently, which came out yesterday, confirming that the allowances will be thoroughly paid later today. So all that back and forth going about of volunteers not getting the allowance here and there, thank God there's been good news. The Ministry for Youth and Sport as well as the local organizing committee has brought out a press release stating that everything will be paid. Okay, so now let's come back into the camp of Dreams FC, and I made mention of their head coach Abdul Karim Zito. He has playfully remarked that his team will be thoroughly prepared to face the top contenders in the upcoming semi-finals of the ongoing CAF Confederations Cup. So his remarks came during the post-game press conference after Dreams FC secured their spot in the semi-finals with a 3-2 aggregate victory over Stade Malien at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Sunday in the second leg of the quarterfinals. Now moving on to my next story, Bibiani Gold Stars head coach Stephen Frimpong Manso has described his team's 1-0 win over Accra Hearts of Oak as a win that means a lot to his side. So Gold Stars picked up his first win since the second half of the 2023-24 Ghana Premier League season commenced with a win coming via Mawuli Wayo goal in the 78th minute. So speaking after his win, the veteran coach stated that the win was testament of Bibiani's Gold Stars' improved form in the campaign.
Well, normally we were concentrating more on our attacking at the distance when we have the ball. Without the ball, that is where we had lapses in our team. But this time around, we made sure, and then we rehearsed it. And then I was very sure that if they're able to do that, at least if we are not able to win, at least we can get a draw.
How important was the quality of your team today as compared to other matches?
Yeah, I think the team is improving. It's been improving because if you look at our last, for instance, 6 games, it's 7 now. We've won 4, drawn 2, and then lost 1. And this being our first away win, it's been not any team like House of Oak in Accra. So it means a lot for us, for the team, to give the team going forward very confidence. Yeah, I think this will edge us on. Normally, we since I took over, we've never even drawn at home. We've been winning all the games. What was left was the away win, and then and we've got it here. So that is that. It will give us a huge confidence in our subsequent games.
Having his team's win against Accra Hearts of Oak as a win, that really means a lot to him. Now, away from that story, let's turn our attention talking about Accra. On the 5th of April 2024, the Ghana Esports Federation will officially inaugurate following the endorsement and recognition by the National Sports Authority as the authoritative body governing esports in the nation. So the inauguration ceremony, hosted at the Madagascar Esports Arena within the West Hill Mall, welcomed esteemed figures such as Benuno Mensah, president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, along with representatives from the National Sports and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So expressing his elation, Igor Bumeko, the president of the federation, shared his profound satisfaction in achieving his this prolonged and long envisioned milestone. And I'll be all on sports news right here on News in 30. I am Precious Azuma. Global News is up next.
Welcome back, and that was Precious Azuma with Sport Update right here on News in 30. Now let's move on to the global front this very afternoon. And in a recent statement, Senator Chuck Schumer commended President Joe Biden's proactive approach to prevent an escalation in Iran. Now Schumer emphasized the importance of diplomacy and dialogue in resolving conflicts and praised the Biden's administration's effort to engage with Iranian officials in a constructive manner.
Iran and its proxies are the most destabilizing force in the Middle East. We see this every day in Yemen, in the Red Sea, in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria. They have little regard for peace and little regard for their fellow citizens of the Middle East. So here's the question I've been asked by some of you, and that is, what are we doing? We know the President and his team are working hard to prevent escalation and are prepared to defend any attack and respond swiftly if necessary. Tensions in the Middle East are very high. That's why we want to pass the National Security Supplemental. It's critical, and we are all urging Speaker Johnson to put it on the floor of the House. It passed the Senate in a large bipartisan majority.
That will be all for today's news update, but before we leave, a quick recap of the headlines. The Executive Director for the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amoiti II, has cautioned that Ghana could lose the electricity export market if President Akufo-Addo's directive to curtail power continues. Also, Foreign Affairs Minister Shali Ayoko-Botchwey has clarified that government's recent increase in passport fares is not aimed at imposing financial hardships on Guineans. And also in a recent statement, Senator Chuck Schumer commended President Joe Biden's proactive approach to Iran. Thank you for joining us for today's News in 30 with me, Savara Aiden. Stay and stay, we have more.